Hello and welcome to episode 55 of Shared Discovery, the show and podcast dedicated to sharing the many exciting and enjoyable aspects of games, gaming, and vampires once again.
Yes.
I'm your host, Victor, and today I'm joined again by Savannah. How
Hello.
you doing? Wearing your best
good.
vampire,
This
closest
is the only
vampire shirt?
thing I have.
The Disturbed shirt?
It's either this or a Walking Dead shirt.
It's like vampire or Phyrexian, something in there.
Like demon or something.
Yeah, how are you doing?
I'm doing great. I'm excited to be on more episodes. This
How
is
have you
super
been
fun.
since last episode?
That was like 3 minutes ago, so I've been pretty good.
That's good. I'm glad you're still good.
Yeah.
Let's ride that energy to a successful episode. What are we talking about today?
We're talking about V Rising, and should you play it? The answer is yes. It's a vampire survival game.
Yeah, we're going to answer that question. That is the premise. And by the end, you hopefully will know if it's a game that you want to play. Obviously, the answer for us is yes.
Yes, we played it many times and we beat it.
So I was going to ask you, and I always ask the host, what have they been up to lately?
Terraria and V Rising and Outward.
But I already know.
Yeah, that's what I said last episode.
Yeah. But this is a very exciting moment for us, and because we finally beat
Yes.
V Rising.
Yes. We finally beat a game.
We're bad at that. We get to 95% of the way there.
We beat Terraria as well.
Yeah, so an example of this is I've been at 114 out of 115 achievements on Terraria for a year, and literally all I have to do is log in and give myself an item that your character has.
So I have to give you the item.
So
Yeah.
we're kind of like bad about that. Well, we did it. We finished the game. We're super excited about that because last time, before this main full release, it's in 1.0, we weren't able to beat the final boss at the time because our computers couldn't handle it.
Yeah, our computers were really bad. They were crappy laptops, and now we have good, like, actual towers.
So we beat it. Start over. No,
We beat it.
We
We
beat
beat
it.
Dracula. He
we
was
beat the
hard.
final boss, and we're here to tell you about it. Finally, we've talked about it a lot over the course of the show, but first we need to clean the castle. But
Do your castle keeping.
castle upkeep.
Castle upkeep.
We
Gotta
don't-
put the blood in the castle.
we unfortunately don't have servants to keep our castle.
Yeah. I mean, we have interns.
So we're gonna have to do that. So if you like the show, you like what we're doing, you want to see more of us, you can go on Instagram at Shared Discovery Show. You can also check us out on YouTube if you want to see our faces.
Yes, and see the live show, which you should, the live game show, and the D&D gameplay. Like, it's fun to watch.
And when we say game show, I can see that being a little confusing because every show we do is a game show.
We're talking like Jeopardy style game show where we do mini games and answer questions for points and win a Kirby.
This was
Spoiler
episode
alert.
50.
I won the Kirby.
It was our special. It was live in an auditorium and a live audience. So
Yeah.
check that out for the listeners out there.
Go to YouTube.
Yes, highly recommend going to YouTube, and we also highly recommend going to YouTube for our D&D episodes. So, okay, I have a question for you because your question's lame.
It's not lame. It's should you play V Rising?
That's the
Yes.
question of the episode.
Yeah, and I'm answering it.
No, we answer
What's
the
your
question
question?
at the end, not at the beginning.
What's your question?
All right. I got this. This is a good one. This is way better.
Okay.
What is your favorite vampire from media?
Alucard from the Castlevania anime series because he's beautiful and wonderful. He's the best character. I love him.
I'll give you that. But what's your favorite full vampire?
Oh yeah, frick.
I do like that. That's a great answer because Alucard's really cool.
Is mythology media?
Sure.
Because I think Sekhmet's pretty cool.
Yeah.
The first vampire. Go back to
It was episode 13.
episode.
Yeah, highly recommended that. We talked all about vampires throughout media.
And I like Egyptian mythology, and Sekhmet is cool.
Sekhmet,
I named.
very cool.
So we have vampire crabs. They're little teeny tiny crabs, and I named one of them after her.
Nice. Heck, so yeah, I just thought that'd be an interesting way to start off because
That is a much better question.
we really like
What's your favorite
Vampires.
vampire in media?
Laszlo.
Oh my god, I love Laszlo from What We Do in the Shadows. Go watch that show. It's amazing. I forgot about them. He's my favorite too. I lied.
It's a mockumentary series where you watch the day in the lives, slice of life for vampires.
It's so funny.
Super funny.
I love
We're on
Laszlo.
season 5 right now and started out with a movie. So check those out.
With Taika Waititi.
Yes. Yeah. We've been on a vampire kick recently.
I mean, they're just cool.
They're really cool.
Yeah.
They're a very interesting part of media.
Mm-hmm.
Should I say Spike or Angel?
No, Angel sucks. Spike from Buffy.
I
Angel's
don't know.
boring.
Spike kind of sucks.
Spike also kind of sucks.
But Angel was just boring.
But he's cool.
Okay.
Spike is
This
cool.
is we did the
Anyway.
vampire episode. Sorry. Okay, what?
What is V Rising?
Okay, wait.
Oh,
I'm jumping out of order here.
what is the order? I thought we were in
Disclaimer!
the order. Oh,
Spoilers.
spoilers.
A big part of this game.
It wasn't on the notes.
I know. It's not spoilers to say Dracula is the final boss because it shows it on the cover art on the Steam page. But there are going to be a lot of spoilers for the progression, for the bosses, for the magic. And if you're someone who gets a lot out of discovery for a game, this might not be the episode for it. There's so much game, we can't spoil
We're not
it
going to
all.
spoil it all.
And a lot of the
obvious.
graphics, a lot of the things we talked about are from early game.
Yeah, and it's not like we're going to talk about all of the bosses.
Yes, so-
We might just go through a couple. We're not going to do like what we did with Terraria and try to name all of them.
Yeah.
Because I don't know them.
I could get there.
Yeah, we could get there.
There's even more bosses in this game than Terraria.
Oh wow, there is? I thought there was more in Terraria. Anyway,
Maybe we'll post about that.
figure that
on
out.
Instagram.
Yeah, we'll do it on
That'd be
Instagram.
interesting.
Have a side-by-side.
That'd be very interesting. Okay. Spoiler warning out there.
So, Victor, tell me, what is V Rising?
V Rising stands for Vampires Rising. It is an open world. Wow. I thought I was going to say survival game. It is an open world split into 5 biomes where the player controls a recently awakened vampire. So from the very start of the game, you literally come out of your coffin.
Out of a graves site, like
You're
a graveyard.
in an underground. What was that? A mausoleum.
Yeah.
You're in a mausoleum. You have no armor, no gear, just decaying blood. It's you're just starting over.
Yep.
Right. All right. Let's rebuild. So your goal is to gather materials, make upgrades to your equipment, build a castle, and then ultimately try to take down Dracula. So as you progress, you unlock more and more advanced materials and equipment to defeat bosses that give you more and more powers. You have to survive by meeting the needs of the player, avoiding hazards such as the sun, other vampires, humans, fire, lots of fire. There's so much fire in this game. They know how to deal with vampires.
Yeah.
And so instead of water...
We need blood.
Oh, garlic. Yeah, there's garlic all over the game too. That's
So yeah, instead of water, you need blood. And if your blood, you have like a little blood pool. Did you have a graphic for that?
I didn't have a graphic for the blood pool. It'll show
should
up
have.
throughout the graphics. Though.
But yeah, and if it goes all the way down, you just start losing health. So you want to, kill things and drain them of their blood to keep your health up.
Yes. And so, open world survival game. We've played them. Similar to Terraria, but you have...
A lot of it's
But
similar
it's very vampire
surface level.
Surface level. They're similar in
You craft, you
the crafting.
explore.
Similar in the progression.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay, so
Crafting.
now let's get through the mechanics. Crafting. So up here, I have a graphic of some of the first gear that you can make. All
Is it the
gear.
bone stuff?
It's the bone armor, right? So all of the gear that you have will have a gear score and stats on it. And so you collect and use the tools and tables to create items and help you survive and thrive.
It's another gear leveling system. We love to see it.
It's a gear-based boss killer.
Yep. We like certain types of games.
Yeah, we like certain genres here, if you can't tell.
So as you get better gear, your gear level goes up, allows you to take on harder challenges. This includes weapons, armor, accessories, so like necklaces and I guess just the jewels.
Yeah, it's very streamlined. There's not a whole lot of gear that your character will have.
Chest piece, hands, legs, feet.
Yeah, so a full set is
Weapon.
4 compared to Terraria's 3.
Yeah.
So,
You do have a headpiece, but it's purely cosmetic. It doesn't give you any benefits.
yes, so those are the collectibles in the game.
Oh, you have a cape?
The cape and the
And
helmet are collectibles.
Yeah, but the cape gives you stats. The helmet does not.
Right.
And then you have your jewel. So it could be a ring, it could be a necklace, an amulet of some kind.
So very streamlined. It's not going to be like a World of Warcraft.
Yeah,
where we
right.
have
Everything.
20, 16 slots. It's a lot of slots.
2016 slots.
Something like that. I don't remember, but it's a lot of slots. So it's streamlined down, but those slots it makes them very impactful
Yes.
as you go. And so how do we improve that gear?
You kill bosses.
Yes.
You kill
it's
bosses.
a boss killer. Wow.
You progress by killing bosses and getting special abilities or new items and gear to help you fight the next one.
Yep.
So they might give you like a crafting station. They might give you a recipe for a crafting station. They'll give you a magical ability, which we'll go into later.
Yeah, and so I have up on screen here the very first boss.
It's a wolf.
It's a wolf.
It's a wolf.
And it's going to be easy. It's going to get the players invested. Wow, I can kill bosses. Doesn't stay that easy.
No.
But as you kill the bosses, this is the source of progression. Like you said, every single boss has
Something that you
unlockables
need.
attached to it. So things to build for your house, something that you need. I really like how you put that.
Yeah,
It
something
has
that you need to
that you need.
continue going forward and killing more bosses.
And this
You can
will-
go out of order if you want, but it's hard.
It's hard. It is. It's an open world sandbox, so at any time I could go, okay,
just-
I'm going to go way up north.
I'm just gonna go to
all
the
way
snowy area.
Gloomrot and try a boss. You can do that, but it's
You might not be successful,
at that point, it's a no-hit challenge.
but it's an option. Yeah. It's an option.
It is an option. And so each boss has a level, and your gear score will determine how easy it is to fight a boss. So if my gear score is 25, the boss is 25, it should be evenly matched. I'm 25, the boss is 35, 40.
It's gonna be
hard,
difficult.
but you might be able to get through it. 50, you can't even see their level.
Yeah,
At certain points, you can't even see their level.
if they're too high above you.
And so these crafting they'll unlock certain weapons and armor. And as we know from Terraria, there's certain thresholds, right? You start with bone, you go
Get up to
to
copper.
copper, you go to iron, and you keep progressing from there. And then bosses is how you do that.
Yes.
So it's a survival game. What does every survival game want you to build?
Houses. You get a base. In this one, it's castles because what is a vampire without a castle?
Well, this
It's just a zombie.
I will
Just
say
an
I am not
intelligent zombie.
I'm not a base builder.
I am. I build all the bases. I build the castles. I make it pretty. That's why I have so many hours in this game. Is mostly building.
Yeah. I'm not a base builder, but this base builder is so good.
It's so
It
good.
makes me want to play.
It's so pretty because you get
It's amazing.
You find these books, these recipes throughout the world that help you make like different kinds of decorations. You get floating lanterns, you get chandeliers, you get wallpaper, all that kind of stuff, alongside other like actual gear.
yeah. All this cosmetic stuff for the builders out there, for the aesthetic players. You have over 100 hours more than me,
Yes.
purely from building castles.
Yes. I have made like a whole other like solo world just so I could build a pretty castle.
And I'm not a builder at all, so I appreciate that. I'm a farmer. I'll go farm and harvest all of these resources and kill mobs and get you the resources you need to build the castle. But I will say, I'm very, very impressed. As a non-builder, get me thinking about building. That's a step in the right
But
direction.
you need some kind of castle, as simple or as complex as you want it, but you need it to house all of your crafting stations because it is your safety away from the
Yes.
sun. Like at first you start off with just a wood fortress, no roof, and you just have to be careful.
Yeah, it's a very interesting building mechanic too, because these are shared worlds with up to 64 players.
I think so.
And so you have PvE, PvP worlds. We drop into PvE, and before when the game first released into early access, you could build
Anywhere.
literally anywhere, and
Yeah.
it caused a lot of problems. Okay, literally anywhere, as long as it didn't go into the road.
Yeah.
And so what people would do is they would build their house
In front of
around
other people.
people's houses and
And just
trap
lock them in because
And just
like if
trap
you're on a
them in there.
PvE world, you can't attack anybody else's house to try and get out. On PvP, you can try and demolish
Yeah.
their buildings.
So the only way to die is to drain your blood and starve to death.
Yeah, and
so
respawn at
then
like
you
a
respawn
different
outside
location.
your castle. And okay, I'll make another castle, and the
So in
castle
the full
has
release,
yes. So the castle has a progression system that allows you to build how many squares out based on
You upgrade it.
the ground tiles. And so the starting one, you can build like 50. But they changed that, like you said, because that was causing a lot of problems.
Yeah, so they now have very specific locations that is where you can build.
Yep, so they have plots of land all across the 5 major maps, except for the one of them, which we'll get into. But you claim that plot of land by putting down your castle heart, and that plot of lands don't overlap. I think there's pros and cons to each. You could build in some very silly places before. But now there's not bullying people with the way you build.
I like both of them, but I liked it before because if now there are 2 plots of land. One might be elevated, but they're 2 separate plots, and I want to connect them. Like I want to connect them.
And another downside to the early system too, and maybe this is why they changed it, is the early system didn't have verticality. You couldn't build extra floors.
That's true.
So
You couldn't
the
go
way
very
that
high.
they designed the castles, the plots of land, is there's a lot of elevation in
Just
the
built
world,
in.
so that it felt like floors. But now they figured out how to the programming for the castle so that you can build floors. So now their thought is, okay, why do we need to allow people to build anywhere if they can go
If
up?
they can just go up. Yeah, you can go up to 6 floors.
And it's so exciting picking a place where to live too. I really love that part of the game.
Yeah, it's really going to change, like, how you progress beyond that point. Like, you might be like, okay, I'm closer to here. Let me just kind of stick to this area. Or now I have to go all the way across the world and ride my
Maybe
horse
I
all the
want
way
a new
back.
base, so
Yeah.
over there, right? And so castle, I love the castle building system.
Yes.
It's Vampire Sims.
Yeah.
It's awesome. Keeps you safe from the sun. Okay, another mechanic that I
Blood.
absolutely adore from the game. It's kind of like the gambling mechanic in a way.
A bit. So there's blood types. There are many different kinds of humans and creatures in the world that give you different abilities when you feed on them and take their blood for your own. I have a graphic up here to show an example. You can find these in a range from 1%. Okay,
slow down.
sorry.
So, in the graphic here, you can see the name of the enemy, the health bar, and then below that you see the percentage.
And the type of blood.
And the type of blood that it is. So here I have a brute that's 9%. The type will denote the types of buffs that it gives.
Yes.
And the percentage will tell you how strong those buffs are.
Yeah, they go up through thresholds.
Yeah, and so they go up all the way to 100%. And so I got a chart of 100% sorcerer blood. Because that's what I had on when I was taking the screenshots. And as you can see, there are thresholds from 1 to 5, the amount of buffs that you get. And at 100, you get all of the buffs. You get cooldown reduction, you get spell life healing, you get damage, you get spell resets. It has a chance to just reset your spells.
Yeah, because they're on cooldowns.
And so there's all kinds of bloods throughout the game that you find, and every mob will have most mobs will have a blood tied to the type of animal, type of creature that it is. So animals will have creature blood.
Yeah. Humans can range from worker to, like, rogue.
It's kind of like their class.
Yeah,
Right?
yeah.
So the brutes are gonna be bigger
Beefy.
guys, beefy dude,
Rogues are usually archers and
agile,
DPS.
stabbers.
Yeah, like the assassins.
Warriors are pretty tanky.
And then you have, like,
Scholars
you have the
are
scholars. They're the magic
casters.
people.
They're the magic people. So it's so fun going out into the world. It makes every single mob interesting, even going back to old regions that you're at, because you never know when you're going to run into a deer that's just hot 90%.
Here's a 100% moose, and you're like, okay.
Okay, it's a level 8 moose, but I still want to get its blood. That's really exciting. And for new players, I'll tell you to keep an eye out for this. If you see an enemy that's glowing red,
Yes.
that means they have 90% or higher blood.
They'll have, like, a
Get an
little
eye
red
on them,
aura
yeah.
around them.
Yes, so you'll figure out the blood drawing mechanic as you play. But this one is so huge. And so you put this here.
Yes.
You can save your blood for later.
You can save your blood for later by taking on prisoners. So we'll talk about this in a moment. For the blood powers, but you can eventually dominate people and put them in prison cells to drain their blood for later.
I did get a picture of the prison cells
Oh, good.
here.
Yeah.
It was
just like a little scholar.
The little priest.
She's like a little nun.
Yep, you can make prisons. You're not the good guys. We're vampires.
We're vampires. So they become your prisoners, and then you drain their blood, put it in bottles for later. Then you can
that stuff.
You drink it, and then you got it, and then you have to keep them alive, or you lose that blood.
And the blood is crucial. It is very crucial for progressing and defeating the bosses and making the builds that you want, because rogue blood's going to be very physical, crit based. Sorcerer's going to be mage. The warrior's going to be all around tanky. The brute is going to be lifesteal.
Yeah,
right.
That's what I used.
And so it's very crucial to get high blood and have the high diversity to match the builds and the needs for the bosses that you're playing against. So.
Next off is blood powers, what I was just talking about. So, different abilities and forms that you can turn into to traverse the world. You get these from bosses. So, from the wolf, so you get wolf form.
Yep, and I have a picture of that wolf form there.
Yes.
It's like it's very interesting. I was getting a close look at it. You have like tusks coming on. It's pretty interesting.
They're supposed to be your fangs, I guess.
Yeah.
But they're the other way. It's weird. But yeah, you get wolf form. It allows you to run across the world faster than your normal walking speed.
So this is a core mechanic of progression. Each boss has V blood. Victim blood.
Victim blood. Vampire. Yeah. Wait. Yeah, because it's not vampire blood. They're not vampires. Most of them are. It's victim blood.
So this denotes that
victory
they are,
blood.
Yeah, sure. I like that one too. That they are stronger than the average enemy and have an ability inherent to them that you will learn something from them when you absorb their blood. So you kill a boss, they go down, and you extract their V blood, and you learn something. You learn a new spell. You learn all the things that came with it, and sometimes you learn forms like this.
Yeah, you get human form, like spider form. You can be a frog, and then you get bat form, which just allows you to fly around. It's the best.
Which is huge, and for the sense of progression. You just start as someone walking around. At the end of the game, you're just flying over everything.
It's so good.
So I really, really like the blood mechanic. I really love how it makes it feel rewarding and not a drag to go back to other places. Another mechanic I learned with the glowing red is sometimes your character will just like explode a little bit with blood. There's a small animation. And what that denotes is that there's one of those 90% plusers nearby.
Oh, I didn't know that. That's cool.
I saw that on Reddit the other day.
So yes, another one of these vampire powers is dominating humans, which is how you were able
That's
to
how you put them in the
get
cage.
the prisoners.
That's how you put them in the cage, and that's how you get servants to do work for you.
Yes, you can turn people into your vampire thralls, essentially.
Okay, so we talked about this in Terraria.
The day and night cycle. Vampires rule the night and fear the light. They're vampires. So they're weak to sunlight.
Yeah.
Throw this over here.
So I have it up on screen here. You can see the circle. It shows it's the time. It shows the time of day, the clock, and you'll see in the blue letters that's nighttime, and then in the orange letters that is daytime. And daytime's usually shorter because on the server settings you can make it shorter.
You can change it.
You can change it, but during the day and night, different mobs come out, different things happen, but mostly it's so you can avoid the sun.
Yes, it's just so you want to do more things at night because it's easier. Because during the day, if you want to run around and like farm out resources, you have to stay to the shadows. Otherwise, you burn.
I really like how they did this too. So we have it up on screen here. What it looks like when you're burning.
Yep. you just catch on fire.
I really appreciate how they did this. A lot of vampires explode instantly when the sun touches them. In this game, it's damage over time. So you can get sun resist that allows you to stay longer in the sun before you start taking damage, but it will just burn you progressively instead of killing you instantly. So it allows you, they gamified it, right? So vampires die instantly. How do we make it into a mechanic that feels rewarding and rewards shadow hopping? Like I never thought I'd care about shadows so much in a game.
I just need to get under this tree.
Oh my gosh, get under this tree, and you're like getting under lampposts and just
hiding behind something.
And it's another thing that they've done really well to make you care about, because every game, a lot of games have shadows, but I never think about them.
They're not important. They're just there.
But he,
But for a vampire who needs to be
like,
out
wow,
of the
that
sunlight,
makes complete sense. Of course, that is very cool. So they really did a good job of implementing the feeling of fear for the sun. I will say that.
and even the feeling of desperation when you're in an area and you're like, where are the trees?
Yeah, because they
Just like in a
have.
barren landscape.
They don't have a weather system, but they do have clouds. So they'll have clouds float over, and you're in the shadow, and you're fighting. You're good. And you're like, okay, that's cool. And then the cloud will
goes
be
away.
gone, and you'll just be burning
Yeah.
as you're fighting a bunch of people. Okay, I can't think about the fight. Crap! Oh crap! Where do I go? And
Or
you
they'll
just,
knock down all the trees that are around you.
yeah,
and you're
like,
like, okay,
literally, like,
it sucks.
I've cut down my own tree on
Yeah.
accident. So very dynamic, and it leads to a lot of emergent gameplay during the day. So, and then it makes you balance. Okay, I guess I'm going to stay home and I'm going to craft during the day. At night, let's go do this boss.
Yeah.
And sometimes bosses too are outside.
Yeah, so you have to be like, this guy is outside. There's no shade around him. He is in a circle. He's like the fisherman. You have to do that at night.
There's like shaded
Barely. Not enough.
overhangs.
But there's
it's-
also some bosses that are like in mines underground, so those are fine to do during the day because you're not in the sun.
Yeah, and so I really like, again, they make you think about the time progressing.
It's cool. And then there's
Okay.
blood moons, which make everything cool.
Yeah.
It's good for vampires. It's bad in
Blood-
Terraria. It's good for here.
True, that's a good point. Blood moons are very dangerous in Terraria, but here it strengthens the vampire. So look, keep an eye out for blood moons. All right, skills. How we do the content, how we
Yes.
beat the bosses.
So I'm pretty sure you only start out with like 2 skills. You have your dash, and then you like throw blood bolt, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So there are.
Well, no, you start out with 3. You start out
Oh, you
with
do?
your- a dash ability, a blood bolt, and then a counter.
Oh, okay.
So the counter is if you can use it, time it right, it will completely prevent the damage of the next hit and do an effect.
So, killing bosses sometimes awards skill points for specific magic schools. The schools of magic for a vampire are Blood, Chaos, Unholy, Illusion, Frost, and Storm.
So I won't spoil those abilities, but I do have the symbols of all of those, of what it looks like in the menu.
Yeah.
So you can see each of those symbols that have a drop-down menu of the skill trees below them. Didn't show those, but killing those bosses will unlock those types. And each of these schools have a different playstyle
Yes.
with them.
It's really cool. Like
Blood is all about healing.
Leeching and healing. Chaos is burning them with chaos.
Oh,
It's
damage
your
over
kind of
time
fire.
ability, yeah.
Frost is like freezing them so they stay away from you. It's awesome.
Unholy
You summon.
summons. Illusions is about resetting your abilities and being
Yeah.
tricky, so you have a dash that you can reactivate
You can weaken
to go
things.
back. You weaken. Every single one of these trees has a debuff that goes on to the enemy. Storm increases,
This has static.
causes chain lightning
Yeah,
between
it's cool.
things. So this is where a large part of where the builds come from, skills, and a large part of what keeps you wanting to go fight bosses. I want
'Cause
my
you're
new
like, I
skill.
want this
I
new
want this
spell.
new spell. And a big difference between early access and now is that they wanted to open up the progression. So in early access, when you'd fight a boss, they would give you a specific skill.
Yes.
Now, when you fight a boss, they give you a skill point for a tree, and then you get to choose what skill from that tree. So it opens up progression because it used to be very linear. It's still
Yes.
pretty linear progression,
But now you have a bit of choice.
now there's it opens up the choice a bit.
So
So what skills can you have
you
at
can
a time?
you can have 2 spell abilities, a dash ability and an ultimate ability in any combination from any of these schools of magic, making for very interesting builds. Like for a while I just did all frost. All frost magic, and it was really cool.
And then in addition to this, you also there's a bunch of weapons.
Yes.
One-handed, two-handed sword, scythe, so on, and each weapon has 2 activated abilities. So as you're playing the game, your kit will have 7 abilities,
Yes.
2 weapon abilities.
So you have your basic attack, 2 weapons,
6 of
2
them.
spells, dash and ult.
Oh, okay, yeah, so I was right. And so those are on screen. You can see the loadout that I was using. Those are the abilities that I was using a lot through the playthrough. You can see that on the left there are the axe abilities. And so a huge dimension of the build too is each weapon, its skills play differently. So a weapon might give you a dash.
Yeah.
Might allow you to pull something towards you.
It might knock back,
Might
so things
knock
go
back,
away.
Might give a slow.
Like I used a longbow for a long time, and it has a scatter shot which pushes things back, and I used that to get things away from me a lot.
The two-handed sword, like it has that big arc, so it can cleave things really well.
Yeah.
It does a lot of damage, but it hits slow. It has a leap ability that
You
gives
jump
you
up in
an
the air
gives an
and
iframe,
slammed on it.
so you can dodge. It gives you another way to dodge if your dash ability's gone. Iframe is an invincibility frame for those of you that are wondering. So this is the core game, and the mechanics are very, very sound. It's one of those games where
The combat is
combat's so smooth, right? And a lot of it comes down to your skill as a player
Yes.
rather than RNG. Except during the day when
Yeah.
the sun is out and there's a bunch of mobs showing up.
So I put on this other mechanic, horses.
Mounts.
Mounts. You get a horse. They are mounts that let you traverse the world a lot faster than on foot or even in your wolf form, as long as you get a fast one. Because what I really like about this mount system is that these mounts have visible stats that you can see. They have their like max speed, they have rotation speed, they have acceleration, and then they have a health pool, which I don't know if that's very visible.
I actually don't know if they have different amounts of health. That might be
I
a
don't
secret
either.
mechanic.
Yeah.
Another secret mechanic is
How much they
you
need
have
to
to
eat.
feed your mount, and they have slots that you can put grass in, and the amount of grass you put in there will determine how long
They can survive
can
without
survive.
you
And
needing
if
to
you
feed
run
them
out
again.
of food, they just run away and leave you. They
Or die,
despawn.
yeah.
So they die, or they go back to the ranch.
They just go back to.
So up on screen here, you can see a horse that I just went to go pick up for a screenshot.
Oh, okay.
It's really bad. It has low stats. If you see a horse, go get a better one. These stats are all terrible, but the stats are very, very meaningful. If you have a stat with a horse with a low top end speed, you're gonna feel it.
Yeah.
Like, what is this thing?
What are
This
the
is
highest
this is
stats for
terrible.
each?
11 in speed, 7 in acceleration, and then 14 in rotation
Okay.
speed. And look for that. I didn't find a perfect one on this playthrough, but I found a pretty good
I got one that's pretty good. I got one that had 11 speed, and then later on you can get them a saddle to upgrade it, so now it has 12 speed.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
amazing.
And the thing is, too, you do want to balance these things, these stats, because a mount with low acceleration feels so bad.
It just feels a lot slower, even if its max speed is pretty fast. It takes a while to get up there.
What I really appreciate is a lot of stats like this. There's a lot of stats in games that you don't feel. You directly feel a change in these.
You feel the
stats.
horse.
You feel the horse, especially rotation speed when you're zipping through a world and trying to dodge people or make tight turns.
If you have really slow rotation speed, it's
Someone's
it's
just
a
going to
bad
shoot you
time.
and knock you off your horse. So
Yeah.
keep your horses alive, people. Get a good one. It's easier to keep them alive.
Yeah.
All right.
Next, cooperation, or PvP. You can play online with your friends, form clans, and have community castles together, and even beat bosses together. Or you can play against people and destroy their castles and take their things, fighting for dominance over the land of vampires.
Yeah, so we put this here because if we're trying to convince you to play the game, it's important to say that it caters to multiple styles of
Yes.
players. There are a lot of these survival games that say, this is cutthroat,
It's always PvP.
it's always PvP,
And I don't like that.
deal with it.
I like PvE because I don't want other people to just randomly kill me.
But I can totally see the appeal of that. Because if people are like, I want to progress, but I always like that there are other enemies out there.
Yeah, it's interesting
It's
because
very
I really
interesting.
like Dark Souls, and that has PvP. You don't have to, but like if you play multiplayer at all in Dark Souls games, then you can get invaders, which are usually people who are a lot better than you, just coming to gank you. And then you're like, okay.
But that's not guaranteed, right?
It's not guaranteed, no.
Right? So that's what's nice about this is you either choose a PvP or
You
a
know what you're
co-op
getting.
ser- or
Yeah.
a PvE server. And we choose PvE because we like the we don't want our bases to be raided,
Yeah.
and we like the working with the server. There's been many times where like, hey, anyone doing this boss?
Yeah, you work with everyone
yeah,
else
I'll be
around
right there.
in the server.
It's really cool. We've been able to
made a couple friends and toured each other's houses.
Yeah, that was fun. Just
and then we just
played
like
The Sims for a while.
Yeah, we sat in the garden.
But we were able to beat a boss that we had no right in beating.
Yeah, because someone else was higher level
someone
than
helped
us.
So it's really cool. You can choose the way that you like. If you're a Rust player, come play the PvP version. You know, you're used to that cutthroat. You like the stakes that come with it. Come on down. All right, you put this one.
I put fashion collection because, as we said, there is the helmet and the cape that are kind of the aesthetics, but they also added vanity slots. We talked about this on our last couple episodes. So you have your gear, the 4 that we talked about, and then you have your headpiece, which is purely cosmetic. You have a cape, but you have a vanity slot for each of them except for the head because the head's already cosmetic. That you can put something else that you like better. So if you have like a fancy dress, you just want to cosplay in a fancy dress, but still keep the gear score of your actual armor. And
yeah, you keep the exact stats of those. And for that example with the dress, you can see it on screen here, but you put the dress into this vanity slot, and that gives a lot of color palette options is another way to customize your look.
And so the collection part is finding all of the different capes and hats that you can get in the world, because there's a bunch of different kinds. Merchants sell them. You can just find them by killing things. And
you can fish them up.
You can fish up.
It's kind of annoying when you're trying to get fish. But
yeah,
it's cool.
And then you get a straw hat. Yeah. All right. Now on to Can You Survive?
That's V-Rising. And as you know, last episode was Could You Survive in Terraria? And I really liked that. So I think for these deep dives, I think it's fun to just
have these criteria.
Have this criteria tacked on at the end here. So what are the rules for V-Rising?
So V-Rising...
Are we a vampire?
So yeah, that's a question. It's, are you a vampire in this world, or are you a human being? Are you just yourself being dropped into this world?
Well, Terraria we said we just got dropped into the world.
So I think we're just being dropped into this world.
I want to be a vampire.
Well, then go talk to a vampire.
This world sucks if we're not.
Yeah, just go talk to a vampire and be like, hey, please change me.
But they'll eat me. I
They
have
might
high
not.
quality blood.
Do you?
I have like 52% rogue blood.
You're a rogue. I would think.
Wait, that's a good question. What kind of blood?
I'd be probably just a worker.
Worker blood.
I'm just a person.
Honestly, most humans probably.
Yeah,
are.
I'm just a person.
Yeah. Huh. It's not mutant blood.
I can clean your castle for you.
That's hilarious. We're worker bloods here. Okay, so we're humans.
We're just humans dropped into this
dropped
world.
into this world, and we gotta survive.
Gotta try and survive all the beasts that want to attack us, like the wolves.
We'll go one
and
through.
vampires.
You're jumping ahead.
Yep.
So
Water accessibility.
yes,
There's water everywhere.
there's water. I was gonna say in every region, but a couple of them you wouldn't want to drink it.
Yeah,
but in the first few zones, it's just everywhere. There's rivers and lakes.
there's rivers,
and
waterfalls.
Those are the zones you're gonna be in anyway.
Yeah.
Probably, probably 2 main safe zones for you. We're not to safety,
you can just
but
find
there's water
canteens.
everywhere and all of that, and then you can find canteens. I think this is a 10 out of 10.
Yeah, water is great.
Now food, this is an interesting one.
Food availability. It depends on where you're dropped.
We should set the stage here that the world, this is not a procedurally generated map.
No, it is very static.
It's a static world where there are 5 regions, and there are humans that exist in this world. So the starting region, it's mainly a bandit-controlled world region. Then the farm region above that, that's where
a lot of commoners
are, and
workers
and regular people live. Above that, you have the rotted land with the mutants.
Yeah, don't go there.
There. To the east, to the right of that, you have a small
Is that Gloomrot?
You have a small tundra biome. No, we just talked
Oh,
about
to the east of the farm.
Yeah,
Okay.
to the east of the farm. Yeah, fair. So then you have a small tundra biome. Then you have a spooky horror biome. Don't go there.
Don't
then
go there.
above that, you have a cursed forest. Probably don't go there.
Yeah.
And then, to the west of the farmlands, it's more human-controlled land.
It's more like cities.
It's a
city
city.
settlements.
It's
Vineyards.
church. There's a lot of army there. So, okay, so that's the stage.
So it's like, where are we dropped in?
So-
I assume in the starting area of
So-
the bandit forest.
So if we're, why that's the, we're talking about food availability, and it matters where we're at.
Yeah.
Right. There's a lot of food in the farmlands.
Yeah.
It's the farmlands.
It's farm.
There's wheat, and there are critters. There's deer and moose and wolves.
They have pigs and
There's
sheep
fish.
and cows. They have farms.
I don't know if this is a 10 out of 10 though.
It just depends on where you are.
Yeah, it's
because like
very
if you're
hard.
in the human occupied zones, like the farmlands, like Silverlight Hills, or even in the bandit camp, like there's food. There's food around. These people are able to
So
survive.
should the rule for these episodes, we start where the character starts?
Yeah.
Okay, so that's the rule for the episode. We start where the character starts.
So we start
So we start
in a graveyard.
the graveyard. There's skellies.
We have to
and
run away.
And we run north. Okay, we're getting out of here. There's plenty of food in this forest. There's honestly
deer.
all kinds of food. I think I'm lumping safety in.
Yeah, you are.
Because there are seeds. There are a bunch of plants. There's sunflowers. There's wheat. There's fish.
There's deer.
Critters. Right. And I think this is honestly a 10 out of 10 on availability.
Yeah.
I just
Food is available.
I got caught up on.
Whether you can get it is another question.
Yeah, I really got caught up on the safety. Okay,
Shelter.
this is an interesting one because there are obviously
There's
towns.
a lot of towns and like bandit civilizations. There is a lot of shelter around that you can just go to if you want to just run away from
it's a
being
very-
a vampire.
Yeah, if you can just run to the human settlements and they accept you, which I don't think they would.
They would not.
They would not. Like, you're
They'd
a
be
human.
like, all right, you're a human.
Okay,
We'll put you
the
to work.
bandits might put you to work,
And that's fine. Like, just please keep me alive.
But you would have shelter nonetheless. The reason I say this is interesting is because a majority of the shelter for this game is tied to vampires building. Humans
Yeah.
can't really build in the wilderness where the vampires do, and it's shown that really no humans have built in the plots of land or in the wilderness
Yeah.
where those plots of land that the vampires build at. So
We
we
would
wouldn't
just-
be able to make a shelter.
No, not really.
We just have to hope,
We can get to safety.
get to safety, and then there is shelter once there is safety, once we're accepted.
I guess I don't, because
It seems
this is hard. Yeah, it's hard to put this on a scale, just because it's very dependent on like where you are, where you start.
Okay, your
And
start,
how you
you
get
survive.
If you can get there, so we'll
There
talk
is
about
shelter.
safety in a minute. There is
Yeah.
shelter.
There is shelter. Bandits take you, put you to work. Technically shelter.
Yeah, put me in a tent. I don't care.
They put you in a tent, put you in a cage, put you to work. That
I'd
is
say-
shelter. I'm thinking like an 8.
I was gonna say a 9.
It's high. It's available.
It's high. It's not 10 out of 10 just because of you can't make your own
You
shelter.
can't make your own, and it's not completely guaranteed the quality of
But
it.
shelter is available.
But it is available.
So I'm gonna go
9.
with 9.
I like 9.
Safety. This is not a safe world. This is a
I'm
1.
gonna leave. This might be a 0.
We'll put this at a 1.
Yeah, okay. There are safe places.
Maybe a 0.5. Because there are safe places, but
We live
most
in-
of this
yeah.
world is very not safe. If you go to the human settlements, you are still not guaranteed to be safe unless you close your door. Because
Oh,
vampires can't get indoors.
Yeah. But they can. We go into the houses all the time.
Because they leave their doors open. In the cities, if there's
True,
a
true,
building that
true,
is
true,
closed and the door isn't open, we can't get in.
True.
I want to.
So you have to go into these buildings and never leave.
Yes.
Oh man, and there are safer places like the chapels have holy crosses everywhere that do damage to the vampires, so not many vampires go there.
Yeah.
But if we're thinking about it purely, this is a world where the vampires are starting to wake up and they're progressing and they're doing what the player does. You just be walking down the road and get murdered.
Just get murdered for
as
no
a dude
reason.
on a horse comes by and just chops your head off.
Yeah.
I do that to peasants all the time in the game.
I try to leave the peasants unless they're good blood or if they have something I need. I'm gonna put this at a 1.
I don't even know if it's that high.
It's a 0.5.
Okay,
I'm not gonna
okay.
put it
the
at-
capital city is very safe.
I'm not gonna put it at a 0 because you can
yes.
find safety.
The capital city is very safe. Dawnbreak
Dawnbreak Village
is
is
it's okay. There's There are a lot of painful mobs there. Christina, the boss, lives there.
Jade walks around there all the time.
There's a lot
Another
of bosses,
boss.
so that is relatively safe.
Just stick by Simon
But
Belmont.
it just doesn't matter.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter how safe you think you are. Vampires can just show up if you're
No.
not in one of the.
You just have to
buildings
go to the
you can't
main city,
access. Yeah.
go in a building, and close your door.
Yeah.
Because vampires and the mechanics that we play, we can't go through closed
don't go
doors.
to the Cursed Forest.
No.
Don't go to the Horror Land.
Don't go to Dracula.
Don't go to Dracula.
This is
Don't
a point
go to the
5.
mutants. That's what I'm teetering between right now. 0.5 or 1. And I think since there's a spot that is guaranteed safe, I think that does make it a 1.
Okay. I think so too. 1 out of
Okay,
10.
so this next one is actually going to be higher than Terraria.
Yeah, traversability. You can traverse this world pretty easily.
There's roads everywhere.
There's roads everywhere. You got a horse. You can get a horse. There's sometimes carriages. It's traversable.
It's very traversable.
Is it safe to traverse? No,
No,
but that's not the question.
We're so stuck on safety
No, that's
because
not
it's a
the
vampire
question.
world, but it's not the question.
It is traversable.
I think this is completely traversable.
10 out of 10.
I think this is a 10 out of 10. It's very paved paths between all of the regions.
Yeah.
And multiple paths between
Even on the
regions.
elevations, there are ways to get up there. Like there are ramps, there are stairs.
Yeah. Yeah, I think this is
10 out of
10
10.
out of 10 for the humans.
Completely traversable.
We don't have to climb. We don't have to fly. We don't have to be frogs to jump over things.
Yeah.
Socialization. This
There's
one's
people
actually
everywhere.
this one's higher than Terraria too.
Yeah, there's people everywhere. As a vampire player, you don't talk to any of them except for like some of the shady merchants. But as a human, you can just talk to all of your other of your human friends. And there are so many people in the cities. They respawn all the time because they get killed.
Well, we wouldn't. 'Cause we're humans.
We're just
Remember,
humans.
the one life rule for
Yeah,
these survival
I think
criteria.
socialization is another 10 out of 10. If you can get
It
to
is.
civilization, there are people.
I think so. Yeah. If you can get there, even as a prisoner, like there's other prisoners.
Yeah. just
You're
be like,
never.
"Hey, man."
If you can survive, you're really not going to be alone.
I think if a
I mean,
vamp-
you are just not going to survive alone in
No.
this world. This is the real answer.
I think if a vampire came up to me, I would just be like, please turn me into a vampire.
Please.
I don't want to die. Just let me be one of you. Come on.
Man.
I'll be your servant. Whatever.
Yeah, because that is true. That is a possibility.
Yeah.
We turn humans into servant all the time, so
Like,
we wouldn't know the quality of our blood.
no. Just be like, please. I'll,
Like, do I have good blood?
I'll
Please,
clean your castle.
please. So
I'll go out and pick
that is a
cotton
dimension.
for you.
That
If-
we will re-rank these in a second as the servant build.
Yeah.
Immediately we get turned. We'll do that in a second.
Oh, yeah.
Sustainability.
If you can get there, it's sustainable.
It is. There's farms and water.
There's whole
everywhere.
cities. Like, they've sustained for this long. If you can just integrate into their society,
There's
then yes.
mines. There's work. There's food.
You can be a trapper for deer.
You can make your own gardens. Right.
Yeah.
I don't see
love
why you
making
wouldn't be
gardens.
able to do that. I know that's a player mechanic, but there are all kinds of plants.
Yeah.
The merchants sell seeds all the time.
The workers around in the farmlands, they have gardens.
They do have gardens, but not for the plants that the players grow.
That's
That's
true.
what I was thinking.
Yeah, they mostly have cotton and sunflowers.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep. So I think this is high. I really do.
Vibes.
A lot of this world is survivable because there's a lot of humans already there.
Yeah.
We're just looking at the safety. That's really what is dragging down the average.
It is. Yeah.
Who would have thought living in a world with
Getting in-
vampires
yeah.
and mutants?
Getting a natural one is still a natural one.
Oh, and werewolves. Forgot to
Oh, yeah,
mention
werewolves. And mutants.
and mutants
And demons.
and demons. Yeah.
And giant spiders. So the vibes of this world.
Ghosts. Can't forget about
Forgot
the
about the
specters.
ghosts. Everything is bad.
Everything is bad. This is so one, too.
What are the vibes that I put for Terraria?
Wait,
I can't see.
Did you do 10 for sustainability as well?
Yeah.
Okay. Vibe check.
Would I want to live in this world if I could be a vampire? Maybe. Otherwise,
No, we're humans.
No.
I think this is a vibe check on it. Because the whole civilization is based on defending against vampires.
I'm
So
putting
you,
a 0 out of 10. I don't want to live here.
So you just can't
as a human.
exist without thinking.
Yeah, like I might just, if I go out of my house, I might just die.
That's like literally
Because vampires will come into the city.
everything is based on surviving the vampires. And the vampires and all of the other threats.
Yeah.
Because there's so many threats. There's just like harpies that will just come down and pick people up.
Like if you're just like in the vineyard having a good day, there's just harpies there.
Let's jump down and grab people.
Yeah. So,
Yeah,
0 out of 10, I don't want to live here as a human.
Yeah.
Barely as a vampire.
Yeah. Okay.
Now.
Well, we do have a little extra time. Do you want to do the
Yeah, so human.
the vampire servant
Yeah.
list? Servant.
Vampire
Okay,
thrall.
so we're dropped in. Vampire runs by and he's like, "You got good quality blood. You're a 92."
Or you're good enough.
You're
I
90
need a servant.
True. And then starting, I just need someone to do my work.
Yeah.
And you're like, okay, I'll do it. And
So,
as a
this is
servant,
Very interesting because water access, as a vampire, you don't need water.
we don't need water. So
And
this
as a
is-
servant, you
you do need
don't-
food.
really need blood? Well, yeah. It's accessible because your vampire lord will just give it to you.
Yeah, that's 10 out of 10 on food availability. Water access.
Water doesn't exist.
Doesn't matter. It's just
Food.
blood.
Shelter, your vampire lord has a castle.
It's 10 out of 10. Now, it's safety. This is interesting.
It's still unsafe for a vampire thrall because you sometimes get sent out to go like farm something from a dangerous location. If you're not well equipped, you just have a chance to either die or get injured. And if you die, your vampire lord can resurrect you. But if you're injured, you're injured.
They can.
They can. Will they? I don't know. So
I think safety's actually
safety
lower
is
than
still
we think.
higher.
It's higher
It's higher than
than
humans. I think it probably just mid, maybe a 4 or a 5.
You're pretty safe because your lord is giving you armor. They're gearing you up in a way.
You're a
that,
vampire now.
Yeah, in a way that as a human, you're not getting geared up.
Yeah.
Like that's another thing for humans too. Just to back up,
I
you
mean-
have a chance to become one of those soldiers.
That's true. Yeah. Still not safe.
Still not safe, but
I'm gonna put as a
before you choose this too, safety goes lower a little bit too because as you go on these expeditions, you're a vampire now, so the sun
that's
is a
true.
threat to you.
That's true. I'm thinking about like the game mechanics where you don't have to think about that.
Well,
So
we do need to think about it
yeah.
in terms of the game mechanics, but
I
we're a
think-
vampire now.
I think I'm just gonna put it at like a 4.
I think a 4 sounds good.
Yeah.
You got armor, you got gear, but you still got to worry about the sun, and you
And
gotta,
people killing you.
and you're not as strong as your lord.
Yeah.
You don't have all the abilities they do. You have the gear.
You have weapons.
So as you go out on these expeditions, like,
You have to be
could still
careful.
get overwhelmed.
Yeah.
Fire archer could still take you down.
Or a paladin can just squash you.
Yeah. Traversability, I think.
It's still traversable.
I don't think it's ever a 10 out of 10 because you still have daytime.
Oh.
Like you can traverse the world. There's paths and stuff, but
You do
sometimes
like
I
an
like
8.
a 9.
Oh,
I
okay.
think it's still very high,
Yeah.
but at day it's annoying.
Socialization. You have your lord. You might have other thralls. There's
don't know.
other vampires. I don't know how social you're
I
gonna
don't
be.
think this one's very high.
No,
You
it's
probably get to
definitely-
work. Don't talk to each other.
Yeah.
What are you doing?
Well, you know, sometimes you get sent out on expeditions with a partner. You can make friends,
True.
and sometimes your vampire lord just might not wake up for a few days.
Also true.
You're just like, I need to
Everyone
nap for a
back
week.
from their expedition.
Yeah, they're just hanging out. I think
That's true.
it's still
think it's
it's
higher
at least a
than I
9.
9.
Yeah, maybe 9.5. I don't think it's purely a 10.
I want to go with the 7 because if the Lord's paying attention, you're always working.
That's true. Yeah,
You know what I'm saying?
I'll do 7.5.
Okay. I don't know with the 7. Sustainability. This is very interesting because you don't really do much of the sustaining.
No,
Is this another NA?
it's very interesting because it's like this is under the. You don't have to do much to sustain
No.
yourself.
No, the Lord
So-
feeds you the blood,
As long as you're doing a good job,
gives you the gear.
I think it's sustainable.
They make all the resources they need. You just get them things. For
Yeah.
them. So I guess your life. So if we put it this way, your life is sustainable because someone's doing it for you.
Yeah, you're going out and gathering for them.
To 10 out of 10. I
Yeah.
think. Vibe check as a servant. I don't think this is a 0.
No, if I was a servant, like it'd be much better because I'd be a vampire and I wouldn't be under threat of being killed by a vampire
Honestly,
at all times.
I'd be vibing quite a bit too. Seeing all these crappy peasants' houses, and we got this sweet.
We got a sweet castle.
Sweet castle.
I think I'll put this at like a 5 or maybe a 6.
Yeah, Okay. I like that. Mid. You're still a servant.
You're still a servant, so it's not the greatest, but
Yeah.
you're a vampire and you live in a dope castle and you have a vampire lord. So.
And you do have to think that you're same thing with the safety. It might lower the vibes a little bit if
That's
you're knowing that your lord could replace you at any moment.
Yeah. I'm just gonna put it at straight 5.
Can we see our blood quality? If I can see that I'm a 10 out of, if I'm 100%, I'm like, I'm not going anywhere.
Yeah, I guess I don't think we can see our blood quality,
no.
but maybe
Hey,
our
hey, Lord.
how good am I? Do you like me?
That might annoy him. Okay, so that was fun. I like that.
That was quick.
Human, it's like a very livable world.
You just don't wanna.
If you don't, you just don't want to be there.
If you can get to a city,
it
lock
has
yourself
everything
in a house.
that you need
Yeah.
to survive, to meet your humanly needs, but you don't want to be there, and it's very risky.
Mm-hmm.
As a servant, since vampires are the alpha predators of this world, and you are directly funded by them, you're kind of chilling.
Mm-hmm.
Daytime still sucks,
Yeah.
but it's much better. I think turn me into a servant, dude. I guess into this world.
Yeah.
Turn me into a servant, or put me in the church and teach me holy magic.
Mm-hmm.
That's what it is.
Make me a boss.
Okay, so now we're gonna re-ask the question.
Yes.
It is
Wait.
bottom of the hour. We got about 3 minutes left here.
Should you play V Rising?
Forgot
Yes.
the question.
What? That was the question.
I forgot it.
How did you forget it? It's the
I had
name
to
of
flip
the
the sheet
episode.
over and you beat me to
You're
it.
silly.
Should? Well, you tell me.
Should you play V Rising? Yes, if you like this style of game. Yes, asterisks. If you like vampires and think they're cool, then yes. If you like co-op or multiplayer games, yes. If you like gear-dependent boss-killing games like Terraria, yes.
So, like Valheim,
Yeah, I don't know.
Outward,
Outward.
Terraria, Rust, Ark. I've heard a lot of people compare it to Ark.
I have not played many games.
A lot of people compare the combat to like a League of Legends.
Yeah, that's
the skill
true.
system.
Yeah, and Overwatch, because that's the one I
Overwatch.
played.
Mhm,
Yeah, you have a few set of skills. They have cooldowns, and you want to combo them in the most beneficial way.
A lot of people compare it to Diablo too,
Huh.
with the customization.
I see.
So we didn't even talk about gems. How didn't we talk about that?
Yeah.
I was going to talk about that in skills. There are gems that you can get that will augment your abilities.
I totally forgot about that too.
And
And there are passives.
Yep. And the gems will increase your abilities or completely change them.
Yeah. So like, if you have like these chaos balls that you throw, sometimes you can throw more, or sometimes they'll just do more damage, or they'll spawn something else.
Who shouldn't play this game?
People who don't like vampires.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
I don't know.
That's true. Yeah, that's true. But there are real cons to it. If you're
If
not
you
much of a
don't like,
builder, if you
like inventory management
don't
or
like
castle
grinding,
building
you
or
don't like
grinding.
castle building, it is kind of linear.
Mm-hmm.
Some people don't like the linear aspect of it. Highly recommend it if you're into this style of game.
Mm-hmm.
And final question here: vampire or werewolf?
Would you rather be a vampire or a werewolf? I'd want to be a werewolf.
Yeah, I know we keep saying vampires are cool, but
But like the sun. Look, I already don't really like the sun, but I like the option to go outside in the sun if I want to. As a vampire, you can't do that. You just
Yeah.
burn and die.
yeah, I think
As
that
a werewolf, you're still like kind of a person.
you're still
You just
basically
turn
a
into a Luffy.
person most of the time.
Yeah, and it'd be cool to turn
You
into a
still have
dog.
a lot of the healing factors of that. But yeah, that's the episode.
Yeah.
Episode 55.
55.
Thanks for listening. Thank
Oops.
you, of course, BCTV, for allowing us to another episode. An episode we've been wanting to do for a long time. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, want to tell us your favorite vampire, you want to tell us why, of course, you'd want to be a werewolf. If you want to tell us how your vibes for the game, email us at.
shareddiscoveryshow@gmail.com.
Thanks again for joining us in episode 55 of Shared Discovery. Please make sure to have fun, play some games, be kind to each other, and sign us out.
You already said it. Said what I was gonna say.
That's my thing.
Well, take care of yourselves and each other. Play V Rising, play Terraria, and just have fun.
All right. See you next time. That's basically what I just said.
I know, you took... I was going to say the thing. I don't have a sign-off
Mine has
like
been
Ron
written in here,
does.
so bye.